Hello, what's up YouTube for the fifth time? I've recorded this quite a few times. Right, so today I'm bringing you a special build. This is going to help with legendary content and defeating the hunters. So I'm just going to go straight over to the specialization tree and take a look at what's important. Predominantly the most important thing really here is the elite defense, giving us 10% increased protection from elites. We're going to be building the entire build around using protection from elites, so this is quite important. The next most important thing is the distributed repair. This is nice because armor kits now repair over 5 seconds, but instead of instantly, but also apply to the group members within 20 meters. I'll show this effect in a moment, but I'm just going to go over what's left in the tree here. The 15% increased outgoing healing is quite nice because we are taking advantage of the Mender Seeker Mine, something where I will be using that as well later on to just sort of show that. The incendiary grenade is nice because it does status effect, so does the explosive bolt with the crossbow of the specialization weapon, which synergizes quite nicely with the survivalist tactical link, where group members get 10% bonus damage to targets with a status effect on it. So that's kind of nice because you can proc that quite regularly. Scraping by, again, cover to cover moves. This can be quite situational, but with the shotgun having a low amount of ammo, it's something that in a tight squeeze can give you some extra bullets and will save you having to run to a box or do something where you're having to switch weapons in your inventory, which is not really ideal. Crunch time is nice, 10% skill haste in a tight squeeze if you need to get the rolling mine back or your shield back. Should it have broken, this can bring it back 10% faster. Lastly is just the weapons that synergize, which is the shotgun and the assault rifle. Okay, today we're going to go around to the crafting station just to show a couple of things because there's something here that's a little bit special today. So, the build that I'm using, let's go through that, starting with the weapons. I have the Lexington. Now, you can use whatever assault rifle you feel comfortable with. The main thing is that we're after here is the health damage. Now, I'll show why this is important down at the range. However, let's just go through the weapon itself. It was given out with 15% assault rifle damage, health damage, and damage to targets out of cover. I feel like these are the most ideal rolls that you can get. And I have put Optimist, which gives us 3.5% weapon damage for every 10% of the ammo missing, which leads to 35% extra weapon damage by the end of the mag. Shoot and forget, nice and easy to use. The next weapon is the Lullaby, or the Sweet Dreams. Both of these can be used as they're exactly the same. So what this does is it gives us the talent of Sandman. So melee attacks instantly kill non-elite enemies. So those are the regular and the veteran enemies, so red and purple enemies. We can just run up and melee them and instantly kill them, which is great. Predominantly, we're going to focus on using this on veteran enemies, and the reason why is because they have a little bit of armor, as where anything that's just health, we have health damage to deal with and finish off those quickly. It's rolled with shotgun damage, damage to armor, and damage to targets out of cover. Now, I'm wearing the Hollow Man mask. It's worth me mentioning this is a DZ exclusive, so if you don't have it, you can use something else. This comes with hazard protection and is rolled with weapon damage, health damage, hazard protection, and an in-slot mod of protection from elites. I'm using the Memento exotic in my gear. This gives us 15 weapon damage, 170,000 armor, and 1 skill tier, with an in-slot mod of protection from elites. So most people are going to know how this works, but just to run over it quickly, the talent kill confirmed effectively gives you a long-term and a short-term buff. The long-term buff gives you 5% weapon damage for each damage core that you have. You get 10% bonus armor for each armor core that you have, and also 5% skill efficiency for each skill core that you have. So ultimately, this is going to give us 10% extra weapon damage, 40% extra armor, and 10% skill efficiency. The skill efficiency is nice because it gives us active regeneration for the shield, and it also gives us healing for the Mender Mine that we're using, which is great. Most importantly is the armor regeneration that we're going to gain, which gives us 30% when we're stacked at 30 stacks, which is great because this synergizes with the build quite well with what we're using. Okay, So more onto that armor regeneration, we're using the Bellstone Armory Everyday Carrier, which gives us 1% armor regeneration. We've got an armor core, hazard protection, and armor regeneration, with an in-slot mod of protection from elites at 12%. Quite importantly, the talent is perfectly efficient. Using an armor kit has a 75% chance not to consume the armor kit, allowing us to keep hold of our armor kits for much, much longer, as well as the specialization armor kit bonuses are increased by 100%. So effectively, we have got a firewall med kit, which will heal us over time, and we share it with other people. So this effectively allows us to be like a second healer if we don't already have a healer if we have a healer in the group, or if we don't have a healer in the group, we can save people by running next to them and just shoving a med kit on. We'll show this concept in a little moment, but let's just go through the rest of the gear. Now, for the rest of the gear, I'm using what we call improvised pieces. Now, improvised pieces don't give you a talent, such as. However, they allow you to put in an in-slot mod that you wouldn't normally have. So I'm running improvised gloves. They have armor regeneration, hazard protection, and an in-slot mod of protection from elites. We also have a improvised holster, again rolled exactly the same with protection from elites, 12%. And I am also using the same again, except with a skill tier on my knee pads. I could have an extra armor core here, if I so choose, or a damage core, but I quite like the utility of the Seeker Mender Mine, so I've chosen to increase my skill tier. For my skills, I'm using the Seeker Mender Mine, and don't forget we can turn this into a skill tier 3 Mender Mine by just holding onto the pistol. This is great because when we first start, we don't have that much armor regeneration and can just help top us up. It also can help us if we have a damage player in the group, and if I'm kiting the hunters and allowing someone just to sit back and put damage on them while I keep them focused on me, this will help them if they need a little bit of healing. I'm using the Crusader Shield, again, quite important because we still take the same amount of damage from red and purple enemies, regular and veteran enemies, so having a shield will help us get closer and dispatch those enemies with a little bit more ease without fear of getting killed. And we also have the Incendiary Grenade, again, good for CC. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you in the crafting station where these improvised pieces are. So if we go to the knee pads, for example, I'll just go down, and you can see that the improvised are here. Let's just roll one. Okay, so we can see that we got something similar. This will take a long time to get right, and you may have to spend quite a lot of resources on these, so that's something to bear in mind. Let's go down to the outside of the range and look at the stat sheet and just go over the important pieces. So looking at our stat sheet, we have Optimist, Sandman, and Preservation. Just going over our numbers here. Most importantly, the one that I want to point out the most is health damage. Remember, the non-elite enemies, like the red enemies, the normal enemies, we can dispatch with this. Any skills that the hunters throw out are red usually, so that's a health pool. Drones, dogs, and enemy skills are all health pools. The Chungas are also health pools, the big minigun guys, they're health pools once you break their armor off. So health damage allows us to dispatch weaker enemies and skills quickly, so it's quite important. Again, on the shotgun, we have armor damage, so for elites, we can use the shotgun to break off that armor, and then maybe switch once they get down to a health pool, or just finish them off with the shotgun if we so choose. Remember, the pistol will give us an extra skill tier, increasing that Mender Seeker Mine to be a bit more efficient. Okay, so talents are the kill confirmed and perfectly efficient. We'll go through these in just a minute. Again, brand sets are Jarl and Bellstone. Just a little under 1.5 million armor, and we have 34,440 armor regeneration as a base. We'll gain another 3% when we're fully charged, which should translate to somewhere around 89,000 armor regeneration when we're fully charged up. We also have 80% protection from elites. Remember, to reach this cap, we need to have those improvised pieces, and we need to have the specialization bonus. There's about 3% wiggle room here, so your mileage may vary depending on what kind of mods you're using, but using all 12s I found has the least wastage and is the best bang for your buck. If you use 11, you may fall short, and if you use 13s, you may be quite over the cap. So it's down to you of what you've got, but just keep a little eye on that. You may have to pop the calculator out or do some quick maths. And finally is I have 70% hazard protection. Now hazard protection is nice because I'm running at 1.5 million armor. Some people choose to go crit damage or crit chance, which will give you more damage. However, I feel like having the extra insulation is very helpful, as some enemies have special ammo, which may bleed or burn or disrupt you. The hunters disrupt you and take your skills off you when you first come in, and they keep doing that. Shock makes you stand still, which is very dangerous as you can get killed quickly. Ensnare again is annoying because it'll make you stand still. So blind death resistance, again, the mini tanks, they flash a little laser at you to blind you. So all these statuses I am insulated from, and I feel that this gives me a lot more survivability. Again on the skills and the shield. So today I have a special assistant, Darth, and he is going to help me show off a couple of things here. First one is about the medkit, and then the second one is the rolly ball. So I'm going to go ahead and ask Darth to just hurt himself on the damage self button. If we drop the rolly mine and send the rolly mine over to him, we can see that that heals him, but if we switch the pistol out, we can see that we gain more healing. So what I'm going to do is just break the mender mine, and what I'm going to do is just ask Darth again to hit the button, just damage himself a little again. Okay, and I'm going to now damage myself as well. And what I can do is when I'm stood next to him, or within 20 meters, I can use a medkit, and that will fully heal me and him. And you can see that I haven't used the medkit, which is absolutely amazing. Okay, so I feel like something that we need to do is just talk about the enemy types and play at the strengths of the build. So remember, this is a normal enemy. This is a red enemy that I was talking about. This bar here is health, okay? So when we shoot it, we're going to gain some extra damage because this is health damage. This is going to allow us to dispatch these enemies a lot quicker, okay? This is a veteran enemy, again, the purples. What you ideally want to do is click the shield open and just melee them. That will instantly kill them. Again, we can take their armor off, the little white bars, with the shotgun, and then switch to health damage if we so choose, or just use the shotgun and just finish them off, no problem. Okay, so let's just see how that looks in a mix. So when we see a group of enemies, what we want to do is we want to identify which enemies are which. This is a good example. So we'll probably take care of the red enemy first because they're health. Maybe run up, melee an enemy, and then switch and deal with the other enemy. But just remember, we want to leave the elites alone. The elites come last, and elites look like this. All the gold bar enemies, so anything that's elite or named, i.e. bosses or hunters. Again, we have the armor damage to help with the armor damage, getting rid of the armor. And the final part is if you run out of ammo, you can do a cover to cover move and may struggle to do that in here. Let me just see if I can do that. Okay. And you can see that I gained 5% shotgun damage, okay? So that's it from me and Darth. Hopefully you've enjoyed that, and I will see you in the next video.